And watching Hurricane Milton move close to the Tampa area in Fort Myers, Florida. More on that forecast and your local temperatures coming up in just a few minutes.
And one college is helping gather donations to help hurricane relief efforts. We'll tell you how you can be a part. And the Brookwood Community and Tuscaloosa Sheriff's Office are mourning the loss of one of their own. WVUA 23 News starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Laura Vale in this evening for Jabari Pruitt. Tonight we lead with weather. Hurricane Milton's outer bands have arrived to Florida's Gulf Coast. Officials say the 11th hour to evacuate has now passed. Their advice to anyone riding out the storm, stay alive and good luck. Lee Waldman has more.
This is it, folks.
Hurricane Milton's outer bands are lashing the Florida Gulf Coast, and it only gets worse from here.
It'll keep picking up hour after hour. You will be on your own.
Other state officials echoing the same ominous tone.
When you figure it out, like, hey, I shouldn't be here. Hey, I need help, and help's not coming.
It's going to take us hours, if not days, to be able to come to you.
Final calls for preparations and evacuations switch midday to ones of try to stay alive.
Make sure you have a life preserver handy. Make sure that you have plenty of supplies with you because you may be stuck in your home.
Milton's winds are whipping up tornadoes with at least 2 spotted Wednesday in Hendry and Broward counties.
No matter where you are, you will experience the power of this storm.
Despite the catastrophic forecasts, some storm veterans are staying put on barrier islands.
If we were to lose a pylon and the house wasn't sturdy, that scares me the most.
But not scared enough to leave.
We certainly fear the storms and the hurricanes. We just choose to ride it out.
As the evening hours approach, the wait begins for what's on the other side.
FEMA is ready.
We have hundreds of state search and rescue personnel embedded in the potential impact sites.
Godspeed to all of us that are in the path of this storm.
In Tampa, Florida, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
And Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott joins us now. Richard, are we expecting any rain from Hurricane Milton?
Hey, Laura, for our local weather, it's going to be absolutely beautiful for the next several days. This hurricane staying well to our southeast. Brand new information from the National Hurricane Center. Winds at 120 miles per hour. This is still a Category 3. In the other box, the video you see, that's a live feed from Naples Pier, and you can see certainly the water moving very quickly and storm surge issues becoming an issue as this hurricane does inch closer to that area. Here's a look at the radar, and this storm is ahead of schedule. Looks like it could make landfall within the next 2 or 3 hours there. I think just south of Tampa. The center of the eye will go inland. Horrible flooding issues going on in downtown Tampa now. The storm surge should stay just south of Tampa Bay due to the fact the eye, the center of the storm, is going to track just a little bit to the south. But again, for a place like Sarasota and Fort Myers, it's going to be a very dangerous situation for the next several hours. Hurricane warnings continue in Central Florida. More on your local forecast here in just a few minutes. Laura?
And Hurricane Milton is now a Category 3 storm, but it will still be a major hurricane when it makes landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast this evening. Damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge, and heavy rainfall is expected to extend outside the forecast cone.
It's going to drive a really bad storm surge, even though it's probably going to be a Category 3 hurricane. The way surge works, it acts like a dam or a barrier, and it doesn't let river water drain out. And so the water just keeps piling up in the bay and gets taller and taller and taller, and then it makes it messy now.
The NHC says Milton has the potential to be one of the most destructive hurricanes on record for west central Florida. The state is already feeling the storm's outer bands, which is bringing tornadoes and water spouts. Alabama has opened 21 state parks for those evacuating from Hurricane Milton. Just go to reserve.alapark.com to find a location. Each park offers camping, lodging, and day use areas. Relief efforts continue for victims of both Hurricane Helene and Milton. WVUA's 23's Jocelyn Malave has a way for you to help with one of the most needed donations.
Mandatory evacuations are ordered for Hurricane Milton, and first responders and emergency support organizations are also taking action.
We have people as far up as Dothan and Montgomery that are evacuating from Milton because this is a really serious storm. So we're making sure that our people are safe. We're making sure that the evacuees are safe and that the roads are in a condition where we can get back down there and help people as soon as possible.
Organizations around Alabama are also working to make a difference. Stillman College and the Red Cross held a blood drive on campus for victims of the predicted aftermath.
We at Stillman love to be a place for our community to come and give back or just come and be a part of something bigger than themselves. So having a blood drive on campus today was amazing for that effort, as well as it just perfect timing with the hurricane. So we're going to actually, make sure we're giving back to those who are less fortunate or those who have been impacted by that particular incident right now.
Blood donations are vital in emergencies like these, and these almost back-to-back hurricanes forced the cancellation of more than 100 blood drives across the Southeast.
So it's critically important that people take that hour of their time. If they see an available donor center or an appointment near them, take that hour of your time, roll up your sleeve, because you can help save lives.
Local in Tuscaloosa, Jocelyn Malave, WVUA 23 News.
Hurricane relief groups and blood donor organizations can't save lives without your support. The American Red Cross says you can help by donating money, blood, or simply by volunteering. One Pickens County woman is hosting a dog food collection for hurricane relief. It's going on today and tomorrow in Reform. They will be accepting dog food and gift cards from 8 to 5 at Little Shop Can Be New to You. Stacy Crockwell is hosting a dog food collection for hurricane victims. She and her family shared that homeless and neglected dogs have held a soft spot in their hearts.
Usually people don't think about the animals, and they stress out, when something like this happens. And the shelters and the families, they get overwhelmed with getting dog food and stuff too. So we was just wanting to take a ride and have a little time with the Lord to help us deal with what's going on now.
The group will be leaving for Tennessee on Tuesday, so there is still time to donate. Many residents across the Southeast are still recovering from Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago. That hurricane directly affected a former Brookwood High School student. WVUA 23's Paisley Roberts talked with the student who now lives in North Carolina. Paisley?
Laura Riley Butler was a student athlete at Brookwood High, and now she goes to Western Carolina University. Riley describes her experience as scary and surreal, but she feels lucky too. The floodwaters trapped Butler in her neighborhood. She was left with no power, no cell service, and no one to talk to but her neighbors.
So whenever I first went out of the house just to kind of see what was going on, I walked down the hill and my neighbors were there, and they were all talking about emergency strategies of like flying us out if needed be. And of course, there were rescue workers at the bottom of the hill on boats evacuating some of the people that were flooded in. And, of course, the fire department was in contact, and they were helping in every way that they could.
Butler said she was surprised about how high the water had gotten, and her neighbors did not expect it to flood the way it did.
The biggest thing for me that kind of was set me back, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening, was to see the stop signs completely underwater, and the trees underwater, and roads that I take to school every day just gone. I can't see them at all.
Butler lives in Sylva, North Carolina, where she said they were lucky to not get hit too hard. She says there were a few missing people in her area, but towns like Asheville were more seriously affected. Butler did not have any contact with her family for more than 24 hours, but said her parents trusted she would be safe because of the community around her.
It was a scary experience, but it was a really good learning experience for me to be away from my parents and do that on my own, and then also be able to meet the community around me of just how good they were and how much they came together whenever a tragedy like that happened.
Everyone in Butler's neighborhood is safe now, but a lot of places in town are still closed. Western Carolina University will not resume classes until October 21st. Laura?
The Brookwood community and the Tuscaloosa Sheriff's Office are mourning the loss of a deputy and school resource officer. 62-year-old Deputy Tim Johns suffered a medical emergency Tuesday while on duty that resulted in his death. Deputy Johns served as Brookwood High School's resource officer for 7 years and with the Sheriff's Office for 26 years.
It's a sad day at Brookwood today. To see the looks on their faces, it's just sad. It tears you up. I mean, our students and our faculty and staff and Tim, that's like a family to me. And when you see somebody every single day and you're around them every single day and you interact with them, It's just like you've just been punched in the gut when one day they're there and the next day they're not.
Deputy Johns will be honored at Brookwood's Friday night football game. And the next phase of the Gordo bypass begins next week. We'll tell you when you can start expecting construction. And fire departments in Northport and Tuscaloosa may be in your neighborhood today. We'll tell you why coming up next. A long-awaited road project is moving forward as the final phase of the Gordo bypass is set to begin on October 15th. The first phase was completed last year, and phase 2 is expected to run for the next 2 years. When it is completed, U.S. Highway 82 will stretch approximately 8 miles directly from the Mississippi state line into Tuscaloosa. AlDOT crews say the bypass should increase safety as well as mobility. And AAA is offering a free service to drivers. AAA Alabama will offer free VIN etching on Tuesday, October 15th. This service allows a car's VIN to be permanently stenciled into the glass of all the vehicle's windows. Advanced registration is required. You can visit ace.aaa.com for more information and to find a location near you. This is Fire Prevention Week. The theme is smoke alarms, make them work for you. WVUA 23's Lyric Franklin is live at Northport Fire Station number 2, where they're getting ready to host a smoke alarm blitz.
Laura, things will be getting started here at Fire Station 2 at 6 o'clock. They'll be going door to door, performing safety checks on your smoke detectors. Tuscaloosa Fire Rescue held a similar smoke alarm blitz earlier this afternoon. Both departments want to get the word out about the importance of smoke detectors. It's proven that smoke alarms reduce the risk of dying in a house fire by more than 54%. Smoke alarms also need to be tested at least once a month and replaced every 10 years. Fire crews say you should have working smoke detectors in every room, any outside sleeping areas, and on each level of your home. Live and local in Northport, Lyric Franklin, WVUA 23 News.
The University Medical Center newest clinic in Northport, this week's Health Matters explains their services.
Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Friend. Taking control of and improving your health requires the most relevant and timely health information available. And University Medical Center is here to help with facts and advice about important health topics that you care about. We know that your health matters.
UMC Northport opened in January of 2023, and we provide family medicine services for pediatrics through adults. We also provide internal medicine services to patients, as well as neurology, social services, and OB services. UMC Northport provides a continuum of family practice and internal medicine care. So we like to be your primary care physicians, not just your urgent care physician. We want to take care of you during your sick days and in your well days. We want to do preventative health care for you so that we can make sure we are meeting all of your prevention for cancer screenings and take care of you throughout your lifetime.
You can hear the entire interview by visiting our website at umc.ua.edu. And for all your primary health care needs, visit University Medical Center with locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, Demopolis, Fayette, Carrollton, and Livingston. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Health Matters.
And got a live view from Naples, Florida. This is where the storm surge issues beginning to come in now. This is Naples Pier. A look at your local forecast and more on Hurricane Milton after the break. Hear my forecast every day on Tuscaloosa's True Oldies channel, 102.1 FM, WJRD. And Hurricane Milton making landfall over the next couple of hours. This is a live view from Naples, Florida. This is Naples Pier, and clearly the storm surge issues becoming a real concern there. I mean, look at the water. That is the Gulf of Mexico. Just incredible shot there, and that is a live video from, again, Naples as this hurricane comes inland. Let's go over to our graphics and show you the latest on Hurricane Milton. Again, wind sustained 120 miles per hour. It should make landfall within the next 2 hours on the west coast of Florida. The good news for Tampa, and we're talking about Tampa Bay and downtown Tampa, it looks like the core of the storm surge is going to stay just south of you. However, you're going to get in that northern eye wall, and that is going to be a very dangerous couple of hours to go for Tampa and the metro area there of downtown Tampa. And again, that activity here is going to continue to move off towards an east direction. That's the eye of the hurricane. It's coming inland. It looks like it's going to move directly over the Sarasota, Florida area. And then you got Naples, you got Fort Myers that will continue to deal with storm surge issues as well. Hurricane warnings in that blue strip across much of central Florida, including places like Orlando, Daytona Beach, Sarasota, and Tampa, as well as Fort Myers. Again, that's where that hurricane warning is in effect. Here's the track. Again, this thing makes landfall the next 2 hours, likely around 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Moves across Florida. Still, it's a hurricane, and then comes offshore somewhere on the east coast of Florida there very near Daytona Beach. But again, for Alabama's coast, the Panhandle, Florida, talking about Panama City, Mexico Beach, back towards Destin, there's no problems at all. However, there are issues of rip current and certainly some large surf because of this hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Here's a live view from a Demopolis camera, Marengo County. It is a beautiful afternoon. The temperature right now of 83 there. We were looking northwest towards the Tombigbee River. And for Bron-Denny and Tuscaloosa, lots of sun. It is a very nice fall afternoon across West Alabama here. And Doppler radar, obviously very quiet. There's no rain, no chance for rain from this hurricane at all. 78 in Haydenville, 79 now in Coleman. So further north you go, it is a touch cooler. Meanwhile, Linden reporting 83. Again, the clouds and rain with Milton well to our southeast over Florida and parts of southern Georgia. That will stay away from Alabama. Here's our forecast this evening. We'll drop to 60 at 10, 55 at 1 a.m. And our Thursday forecast, a nice cool start to the day here. 53 at daybreak. Notice in the afternoon, though, we're up to 83 by mid-afternoon, so a quick warm-up after that cool start to the day. Here's your 7-day, and how about a warm weekend during the day, but a cool couple of nights there. Got low 50s. In fact, some cooler pockets may see some upper 40s Sunday morning. But look at next week. A true cold front from Alabama standards comes in on Monday. We'll be in the 70s, could be in the 60s all day on Tuesday, and then a couple of chilly nights there with some 40s for Monday night and Tuesday night. So, Laura, next week looking a bit cooler, so get the sweatshirts ready. Gonna need it.
Yep, and the boots with the fur.
Yes, boots with the fur. Now, Gary, on the other hand, he's still got shorts in this kind of weather.
Yes, he does. Gary Harris is a sports director for WVUA. Gary, good evening.
Hey there. Coming up, Alabama practice today in Shells. We'll have the latest coming up in sports. And the Crimson Tide defense will face another excellent running game. They got gashed at times against Vanderbilt. Will they be ready for the run this weekend? We'll have the story next in sports. And good evening, I'm Gary Harris. Alabama and South Carolina will kick off Saturday morning at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium shortly after 11 o'clock on ABC. South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer says that the Gamecocks coaches are definitely paying attention to what the Vanderbilt offense did against the Alabama defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Vandy put on tape that, frankly, we do in the run game as well. So there's certain things. Now, you also got to say to yourself, okay, Vandy had some success against them doing this, so is Alabama going to line up the exact same way and do the same thing? You don't know. But we're going to be who we are and do what we do. But there's certainly, like any game, whether it be the Vanderbilt game or the Western Kentucky and South Florida games that they played this year, there's going to be things that we see on tape that we feel like have a chance to be successful, that fit us, that we'll implement.
And Alabama practicing in shells this morning, getting ready for the game. The young quarterbacks, Xavier Brown, Deshaun Jones, and Jahil Hurley, all very, very talented. Number 1, number 7, and number 26, all getting their 25, getting their work in. Outside linebackers, Q Robinson. He has been a leader on the field and off, and Keanu Coote. And we'll take a look here now at the defensive linemen, Edric Hill and Tim Smith. Those guys big and physical. Alabama needs to play better up front on defense, in my opinion. And we'll finally close it out with a look at the running backs. Here's offensive line coach Chris Kapilovic on blocking South Carolina's big and athletic defensive front.
Yeah, I think they do show multiple fronts. They move around a lot of games inside, and they got 2 premier pass rushers on the edges. And even when the guys that come in for them, they do a good job. And I would say they probably have the best interior pass rusher, one of the kids that we've seen this year. Their backers are downhill. They run. They are fast, aggressive, and try to play violent, and they do a really good job with what they're supposed to do there.
Well, Alabama's defense was punished at times last weekend by Vanderbilt, who, even though they didn't have great numbers on the ground, they stuck with the run game and ran it effectively against Alabama using the triple option. South Carolina has 2 dual-threat quarterbacks in Lenore Sellers and Robbie Ashford, and one of the SEC's best running backs in Arkansas transfer Rocket Sanders. UA defensive line coach Freddie Roach now on what it will take for the Tide's D linemen to be effective against the Gamecocks running game.
I think defensively, when you're playing against someone like that, and also a quarterback with, the talent that they have, you have to fit your gaps, and you got to do attention to detail and assignment football. And that's regardless if it's Emmitt Smith, it can be Ron Dane, it don't matter. All right, if you got a good running back you're playing, you are responsible for one particular gap. All right, if you're moving and you have pressure, you're responsible for another gap. But just everybody on the same page, and that's what you do. That's what you do defensively when you're playing against someone that has the caliber talent that he does.
Absolutely. Got to be ready for that running game. If you don't slow that down, Alabama's going to be in trouble on Saturday.
Yep. Thank you, Gary. All right, stick around. We'll be back. The Disney Magic is going to cost more money. Starting today, fans will start seeing a 6% price increase on Disneyland tickets. There's also a price increase between 6 to 20% on annual passes for Disney's original resort in California. Walt Disney World in Orlando announced their 2025 ticket price increase back in February.
Well, the good news is I can't afford to go there anyway. So.
It's underwater in Florida right now. So.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Florida, we got a terrible situation down there. If you are from Tampa to Orlando, Orlando. This hurricane's coming in now, and it's going to make landfall over the next couple of hours. Here's a live view. This is Naples. Storm surge coming in now. This is still a Category 3 storm. I do want to mention our local weather, no problems at all. We'll have full sunshine over the next 7 days. Turns much cooler next week. We'll notice highs only in the 60s by Tuesday, lows tonight in the 40s.
All right, Gary, anything?
I like that weather.
Isn't that awesome?
Next week, I tell you that.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Good night.